Well, a very good morning to you. Happy Monday. I hope that you're doing well. Even as we start a new week, thank you so much for joining us. This is Your World, and my name is Winnie Lubembe. And of course, we have so much to discuss on today's show. And of course, it's all about blood donation and transfusion. Because again, like we all know, that blood transfusion saves lives and as well improves the health. But many patients requiring transfusion do not have timely access to safe blood. And of course, providing safe and adequate blood should be an integral part of every country's national healthcare policy and infrastructure. And even as we gear towards the World Blood Donor Day, which will be happening on the 14th of this month, that is the month of June, which again, the event takes place annually. The big question is then, how do we make sure that, number one, we do not only have adequate blood supply in the country or even across the globe, but also make sure that we have safe blood at the same time. So that is the subject of our conversation today. You want to stick around until the end of the show just to understand how we are doing and what are some of the steps that we can take as a country, because again, blood shortage is not a new phenomenon. We've had this over and over again, but the big question is then, how do we make sure that we have enough supply of blood so that again this can be given to the patients who need it the most, but at the same time make sure that it is safe. But before we delve into the conversation, what do the numbers say, as well as the statistics? So let's just begin with the basics. All right, like we said, One Blood Donor Day, this is an annual event that is usually celebrated every 14th of June of each year. And of course, the theme for 2023 is Give Blood, Give Plasma, Share Life, Share Often. All right, and of course, this is according to the World Health Organization. Of course, I want you to pay more attention on the whole aspect about give plasma, okay, because I'm pretty sure you've had a lot of the times where they say 1 pint of blood can actually save as many as 4 lives. All right, so how is that the case? We'll be looking at them and of course focusing mostly on the plasma. So we all talk about donations, right? But do we know the different types of donors that we have or are available? Well, it's very easy. We have the voluntary or unpaid donors. We have family replacement, which I'm pretty sure if you've ever had a loved one, a friend, you know, in hospital, you usually know or see, you know, this all appeals as far as blood drives is concerned. We need someone who has, you know, this particular type of blood. We usually see that, and as well as the paid, which again, most of the time is usually discouraged. All right, and this is as far as a paid type of donors. But again, in the event that that is needed, you know, they are available as well. All right, so let's take a look at the numbers, and we begin on a global scale, where again, according to the World Health Organization, 118.5 million blood donations are collected globally, but at the same time 40% of this are collected in high income countries. All right, and at the same time in low income countries, let's take a look at that. What it says is that up to 54% of blood transfusions are given to children under the age of 5, and at the same time again continues to say that only 56 of 171 reporting countries produce plasma derived medicinal products. And again, like I said, we'll also be focusing on this part as we'll just get to understand first of all the plasma derived medicinal products and how useful they are. But let's bring the numbers back home, and in the country, and remember this is according to the Kenya Blood Transfusion and Transplant Services, that is KBTTS, every 10 minutes about 7 Kenyans need blood. All right, think about it for a second. Every 10 minutes 7 Kenyans need blood. And even as you think about whether you should, you know, donate blood or not, remember that just 3 teaspoonfuls of your blood are enough to save the life of a premature baby. Once again, 3 teaspoonfuls. Okay, so just think about it, the teaspoons amount of sugar that you usually put in your tea. So just 3, all right, of them could actually save a premature baby. So this is how important really blood donation is. But how we're doing as a country, so per annum the amount of blood that is needed is around 475,643. So the amount that is collected is 95,642, and that is a bit of a disparity in terms of what is needed versus what is collected. And of course we'll be also highlighting the same, the number of recipients who again have received blood or received blood per annum is around 200,000. 1,000. So again, like we said, the big question is then how do we make sure that we have enough supply so that we do not have another case of, you know, the demand is actually much more than what is available or what is collected annually. So how do we get to that level of ensuring that we have enough supply, but at the same time it is safe for those who need the blood the most? So that is what we'll be focusing on the conversation, but we usually have a question for you, and today's question is pretty much simple, all right? And the question is, how often do you donate blood? Once again, how often do you donate blood? That is what we want to know from today's show. So you know the drill by now. Pretty easy, all right? At NTV Kenya, and this is both on Facebook and on Twitter, is how you can reach us. And remember to use the hashtag #YourWorld and tag me as well, and that is at Lubembe_Winnie. And the question is very simple: how often do you donate blood? That is what we want to know from the show today. And I can hear one of our producers back there says, "Hey, mimi hata sijawahi donate blood." Okay, so really, how often do you donate blood? That is the subject or the question that we're asking you today right here on the show. So again, you want to send in your comment. I can see a number of you have a lot to say, and this is on our Facebook platform. But again, remember, like we say, our lines are officially open, so also feel free to give us a call, and we look forward to hear what you guys have to say. But very quickly, allow me to go through one or two comments before I introduce my guest. So Pascal's Tumuge, is it Tumuge or Tumuge? says once a year. All right, Irene Kariuki on Facebook says maybe sijawai, and then someone says, this is Fred Riko, who says, tangu nisikie eti damu inauzwa nje ya nchi, I gave up. Okay, we'll also highlight that in a second. Then Jonah Candy says, I donated 25 years ago. Okay, all right. Do you want to reconsider that and maybe donate again? And then someone else says once per year. This is Ian Gitonga. There's a comment that I'm looking for who says they donate thrice a year. I'm trying to look for that, but as soon as I get it, I'll be able to read it out so that we see what more they say. But again, remember, the question is very easy, all right? How often do you donate blood? So let me introduce my guests for the day. On my immediate left, we have Nick Kiptanu, who's the head technical services and specialist public health systems, and of course I want to believe from KTTA. Yes. Good to have you this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. And I want to hear your reaction from, you know, the numbers that we have highlighted. What do you make of that, and especially what is needed versus what is collected? What do you think of the same? What's the biggest issue there?
So far, I want to thank you very much for NTV for giving us this chance to come and talk to Kenyans. So I want to say that I think there is a lot of improvement. Even the data I saw there, I think there's improved so far. Right now we are more than 200,000 units. More than a half of what it is needed in this country.
Right.
And I know at the end of this year we'll be meeting the target when it's come to blood and blood products.
And blood products. I like the optimism. Yes. By the end of the year, you'll make sure that you have more than enough supply. Yes. Okay. And then we'll also have Ruben Tulel, who's the head monitoring and evaluation and digitization as well from, you know, the KTTA, right? Yes, thank you so much for joining us this morning, Ruben. Very quickly on your comment as far as this numbers. Again, Nick says, listen, by the end of the year, I will have beat the target. What do you say? But what do you make, first of all? How would you interpret these numbers?
Thank you very much. And again, I would like to echo what my colleague has said, that this is a great opportunity for us to sensitize Kenyans on blood donation. Yeah. And as for the numbers, I'm quite optimistic, as he is, and also the team at KTTA is quite optimistic. As we are currently at the end of Q3 of this financial year, we already had 250 units of blood already, 250,000 units of blood already collected. That means we are above the annual target for blood. So as to the strategies that have been put in place, then we are very confident that we will be able to increase the number of blood units in the country and increase access to blood transfusion in the country. So I think I'm quite optimistic too.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I like that. And I mean, listen, that's the best that we can do is just be optimistic, right? Yes. But at the same time, put in some work and strategies just to make sure that, again, we beat this. But it's interesting how you say that at the moment we have, what, more than 200,000 50,000
yes.
That has been collected?
Yes.
Okay. But here's the thing. On Friday, there's a story that was highlighted in our paper, and this is by Jesse Cheng as well as Leon Lidigu. This is as far as, acute shortage, and especially in Bungoma County, where we saw, policemen, or police officers really leading a blood drive. And this is after the county referral hospital, that is Bungoma, disclosed that many patients are actually dying from shortage of blood and lack of screening kits. And they were saying that Bungoma collects only 80 pints of blood currently against the demand of at least 1,000 pints. We're not doing too well. I like the optimism, and I like the numbers that at least we are above, the target, as you say. But at the same time, there's still some areas that are still facing the shortage. And of course, my biggest question is, first of all, why do we experience shortage? Because a number of Kenyans will say, yeah, but we donate blood. We'll have friends calling for, blood drives. We usually see, blood drives and the tents all over the place. I know there are initiatives to also have this in schools as well. Yeah. But at the same time, there's a shortage. And the biggest question is, why? Do you want to take that, Ruben?
Thank you. Yes, thank you. I think it's quite a situation, and when you talk about Bungoma, normally the World Health Organization recommends that at least 1% of a country's population should be blood donors for a country to meet its blood requirements. Okay. That's on the bare minimum. So I think for Bungoma again, the collections. I don't know where the data came from, but I think as at now, Bungoma is doing well in terms of blood collection, yes. Okay. And again, it's about the demand for blood transfusion in the country again. So realize that Bungoma is one of those parts of the country where we have malaria endemic areas. Yeah. We also have those blood disorders like sickle cell disease. Yes. Yeah, so again, the demand is high. And one thing that also we need to think about is that when we have road traffic accident victims also consume a lot of blood. So maybe that could be the reason why there was a reported shortage of blood. Yeah. But Kenya Tissue and Transplant Authority is putting up strategies and ensuring that we have enough blood. And at this particular moment, we have 43 county blood satellites in the country. Right. And we have 6 regional blood banks. So basically, the government is providing testing reagents, and most of these blood units that are collected are tested at regional centers. So this is to increase, to improve on the issues of safety and quality in the procedures where blood is being tested, as it's a very essential service. So I want to confirm then that we are on track in ensuring that we have enough blood in all the counties in the country, so that we can have Kenyans access blood transfusion whenever they need. Whenever they need. Yes.
All right. Okay. Yes.
I think I can add something about Bungoma. You see, again, in terms, we need also the management issues is coming in, because let's say that Bungoma is saying that they are not collecting enough. No, the blood is a national resource. We can move this blood from Eldoret, for example, to Bungoma. We cannot say that the blood which is donated in Bungoma is exactly for the people in Bungoma.
No, they were saying, so again, to beat this demand, they get 400, I think, if I'm not wrong, 400 pints to Bungoma. But you see, there's also a bit of a gap in terms of like 600, or I think it's vice versa. Let me just get that very straight in a second. But yes, they have, other counties like Eldoret also. Yes, I mean, was in Gishu rather. Yeah.
Yes, I was just saying that we have a way of linkages. We have developed linkages whereby we can communicate when, let's say, the blood is not there in Nakuru, they can get it from point A. We can move blood from point B to point A. Yeah. So we have that communication. So sometimes when there is a breakdown in communication, again, it's a challenge.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So like they need to have that communication between the counties, and to make sure that one is not lacking while others have not to say more than enough, but enough that they can share with the other counties. All right. But the reality is, I'm pretty sure so many Kenyans who are watching us this morning can attest to the fact that sometimes you go to a hospital, right? Maybe your relative or your friend needs blood, and you're told we do not have this, you know, we do not have blood.
Yes.
So the friends would send, you know, WhatsApp messages or call the others and say, hey, listen, please pass by, you know, this particular hospital, our friend, our loved one, you know, needs blood. And that is the reality on the ground. So my biggest question is, what has been the biggest challenge in terms of making sure that we collect enough, right? Blood, and this is across the country, because this is not just a Kenyan problem.
Yes.
Exactly.
But also the global problem as well.
So I can say that, you see, blood is perishable. Today you can see a lot of Kenyans donating blood, but after around 35 to 42 days, that blood is not going to be used. But we are not saying that the blood is expiring in our storage. No, it has never happened like that, because the demand is high. So we need that culture of continuous donation, because this blood is perishable. Today we can put in the papers, oh, we have around 1 million pints of blood, but tomorrow we are again back at almost 100 pints of blood, because we need that culture of continuous donation to replenish our bank.
So that is one of the biggest challenges.
Yes.
But at the same time, again, like you're saying, yes, we might have like more than 1 million people coming to donate blood, but also there's usually a lot that happens in between, you know, the processing and whatnot. That again might solve, you know, alter the safety of the blood, which again might need to be discarded at the same time. I mean, like we saw one of the comments, someone said, "Me donated 25 years ago," which is a very, I mean, maybe they know the reasons behind it, why they do that. But again, so we have a challenge over there in terms of the frequent donations. We only act when we're called upon, but we don't see a lot of people going to hospitals and donating blood. What are some of these other challenges, Ruben, that is there?
Okay, thank you very much. I think you've highlighted something very important, that more oftenly people go to social media maybe to air out requests for blood and all that, and we feel that there is our regional managers, our satellite in charges are always very available. So I think Kenyans need to first, as the first point of contact, should be the nearest blood bank that they are within their locality. And like I've said already, that we have 43 county blood banks. Every county has a blood bank. And we have the regional blood banks that are doing the centralized testing for these units of blood and also collecting blood. So I think one thing that we need to work on and maybe strengthen as Kenya Tissue and Transplant Authority is to make those points of contact public, so that now whenever one requires blood transfusion, whenever you have a patient who requires blood transfusion or help in terms of blood transfusion, then the point of contact will be the nearest blood bank, rather than going to the social media. So you see, when people go to social media, then it looks like it's the situation is bad.
But you see, at that time you're desperate. It's like,
exactly.
Whatever we can get.
So my take would be to Kenyans, my fellow Kenyans, is that they are regional blood banks, they are county blood banks. The first point of contact is that these are public officers, public offices. The first thing you need to do when you have a relative requiring blood transfusion, then you need to go to the nearest, or just get a contact of the nearest blood bank. Where you
so is it an individual to do that, or is it the facility? Because I'm trying to imagine by the time I get the contact to the blood, you see,
that is where the challenge is again, because the prescription for blood happens in a hospital. So when a clinician prescribes blood, he or she is the first person who knows that this patient requires blood transfusion. So we want to have the point of contact with the hospital to contact the blood bank.
For that, I can imagine the number of people who will be making the calls.
And also there's always the thinking that we have blood in short supply sometimes, which is true in some cases. But sometimes we have blood in our blood banks, and the social media is abuzz with something like saying
we do not have
enough blood. So I think again, our communication needs to be very synchronized in terms of having people communicate with the blood banks, and the hospitals communicate with the blood banks, because they are the ones who make the request and collect the blood. The ladies do not collect blood from the blood banks. The blood is collected by the hospitals that are having the patients. So I think it will be very important for the hospitals again, if there are some listening, that they are the ones to be the first point of contact with the blood banks, so that the Kenyans are not put under some kind of stress in terms of saying that there's not enough blood. Again, like the rallying call for this year, that is the World Blood Donors Day, one of the focuses is we give often.
Yeah.
Give often. So the question, I do not want to answer the question that you just asked the viewers, but one can give blood more than certain number of times in a year.
So, but we have the recommended times, right?
Of course you have the recommended, just for fear of okay. So I think like my colleagues had maybe that let me just say that a lady can donate blood after every 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah, making that to be how many, after 3-4 months actually, making that to be 3 times in a year. Men can donate after every 3 months, making it 4 times in a year. So that means, again, like he's already mentioned, that a unit of blood has an expiry date, a shelf life, when you donate. And that 35 to 42 days, a red blood cell, a whole pint of red blood cells, so part red blood cell would expire, and then that means cannot be used for transfusion. Then again, something that needs also to be understood, because I think the fear is that when I donate blood, I may lose my blood or something like that. So I think something important also to note and also to sensitize our Kenyans on is that a normal red blood cell has a lifespan when circulating within your body. So within 100 to 120 days, that's basically around 3 months, that red blood cell becomes is taken out of your system and new cells are produced. So that is why we have our bone marrow producing more cells. So again, blood donation is a safe process.
The more you donate, the more your cells regenerate.
Of course, they regenerate, yes.
Okay, I see that. And of course, you talked about, because we need to go on a break, but very quickly, I want to hear from you, Nick, in terms of then, because like you said, it's important for Kenyans to know where these regional blood banks are, right? So do you want to just highlight very quickly where, you know, they are, so that people know whether it's maybe within their reach, within their region, within their county?
Yes, in the country we have 6 regional centers.
Okay.
Number 1 is we have in Nairobi, Nakuru, Mombasa, Kisumu, and Embu. Yes. Okay. And Eldoret.
And Eldoret as well.
So we have 6. And then in these 6, they run around some satellites in their own regions. They have more than 1 satellite centers. And in these regions, they have very good communication with the satellite centers. So wherever an hospital requires blood, because actually we don't issue blood to individual, we issue to facilities. To the facilities. Because sometimes I have been seeing in the social media that the patient so and so requires blood, but when you actually go to the ground, already that patient is already transfused. So we need again to up our games in terms of communication. And then also we tell the country, especially the Kenyans, to communicate to regional centers, not even not them to communicate to them, but to hospital to communicate to our regional centers. Because wherever we lack a certain blood, we know how to
go about it. But a lot of Kenyans will tell you, listen, by the time we are actually making these appeals online, it's because we have tried with the hospital, and then the hospital tells us, listen, atuna damu. So it's up to you to call your friends and call your relatives and tell them, please come donate. And then, but one thing that most people don't know is the fact that yes, you will come, we will donate blood, but you see that blood has to go through a lot of testing and processing and screening and all those things before it's being transfused to your patient, right? So I think that communication, what you're saying between the hospitals and the regional blood banks, I think it's very, very key, so that people do not feel desperate. All right, let's take a break, but of course when we come back, then would want to understand the whole process as far as the processing and the screening is concerned. How long does it take? And also the separation, like we said, one pint can save up to what, 5 lives, right? So we'll look at the whole processing part at the same time, because like we said, today our focus is mostly on the plasma, right, and the plasma products as well. But before we go on a break, very quickly to go on some of the feedback as far as our question of the day, and that is, how often do you donate blood? That is the question that we're asking you today. Let's hear what some of you have to say. How often do you not donate blood? NTV Kenya, both on Facebook and on Twitter, is how you can reach us. Jim Lawson says, the coincidence is that Kenyans donate blood freely, while the same units of blood donated are sold to patients. Very sad, and of course we'll hear from my guests today as far as that concerned. And then Professor Martin, or is it Marin, Udwar says, twice a year, and I'm proud of it. Being blood group O person is a blessing and a privilege. May the Lord grant me more years of grace and blessings. Amen. So that you can donate more often. All right. And then Don Eric says, never, but I would love to. All right. So please do. Okay. And then someone else says, Stephen Willie says, most of us are limited by weight. Again, something else to note, and I think we'll also go through the same, who's eligible and whatnot. And then let's see what someone else has to say. Maloa Omondi Bernard says, I have donated blood once every single year since 2015 to date. This is my culture of extending help to strangers. That is beautiful. All right, and please continue to do the same. And then Yunakan Manu says, I only donate towards a specific person and not for the blood bank. Okay. Do you know that even that specific person that you're donating will not necessarily get that blood? It will have to come from the blood bank, because again, like I said, it has to go through testing and screening and all those things before the person gets their blood. So please just donate anyways. All right. Well, let's take that break, but of course when we come back, we'll go through more of your feedback, as well as go through the whole processing and testing, the screening of the blood, as well as just making sure that it is safe for our loved ones. So see you very shortly right here on Your World.
What made you decide to become a doctor?
It's because my father needed one. And you, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be happy like you.
Life insured is love assured.
Furahia maisha bora, linda jamii yako, linda biashara yako. Chukua bima leo. Tuna bima ya maisha, afya na ajali, mali hata elimu. Chukua bima leo. Linda jamii yako, linda biashara yako. Chukua bima leo. Tuna bima ya maisha, afya na ajali, mali hata elimu. Chukua bima leo.
Blueband peanut butter, made with 100% pure peanuts and a good source of omega-6. Grow healthy and happy kids with Blueband peanut butter. Available in 200 grams, 400 grams, and 800 grams. Buy a pack today.
No bunga fagi pende ne lace de mysteri. No ba unga ti browse on flick ne mysteri. No bunga mi kana next week ne mysteri.
Only on the Trend at 10 p.m. The Trend in association Techno Come on 20 series.
Pata taarifa teke teke na e-paper. Stay in the know on the go. Getting the full story bilangori. To sign up, choose your preferred subscription. Use the promo code SUBZ22 to get 20% off and pay. Get your favorite newspaper and enjoy the truth anywhere, anytime. For inquiries, email epaper@ke.nationmedia.com or call 0790 111 111. Subscribe today and get your taarifa teke teke.
On the 15th of June, Treasury Cabinet Secretary Professor Njuguna Ndung'u will be presenting the Kenya Kwanza government's debut budget. He will be tabling an ambitious 3.6 trillion shillings spending plan on the one hand, and faced with 850 billion shillings worth of debt redemptions on the other hand. Together, This is a staggering 4.5 trillion shillings spending plan. How does the government plan to finance this? Starting Monday, the 12th of June, the Nation Media Group will be on a rolling coverage of the 2023-2024 budget and what it means for you. We will be coming to you from the National Treasury, the National Assembly and the grassroots as we come through the fine detail, interrogate every digit and make sense of what this budget means for your pocket. Stay tuned across all our platforms for the most comprehensive coverage of Budget 2023-2024.
Cascadia Apartments at Two Rivers Development in Nairobi with a Madaraka offer till 30th June 2023. Price start from 9.2 million. Call us today on 0742 342 722 or text Cascadia to 22365.
Okay, welcome back. The show is Your World, and of course today we're focusing on a very important conversation that is as far as blood donation and transfusion is concerned, because like we said, we are actually gearing up towards the World Blood Donor Day, which is usually commemorated on every 14th day of June each year. And of course this year the focus will be on give blood, give plasma, share life, share often. That often part is what we're stressing today, all right, because a lot of people are saying I can only donate when my family or friend or loved one needs blood. But at the same time we're saying listen, we're experiencing a shortage, and like we said, it's not only a Kenyan problem, but again across the globe we're seeing so many countries that are facing shortage when it comes to blood. Like there is insufficient amount of blood that is required versus what is what is collected. So the big question is then, how do we make sure that we get there where we have sufficient but at the same time safe blood for transfusion? Like I said, we'll be focusing a little bit on the separation as well, and just to see how 1 pint of blood can actually save up to 4 lives. But something that I need us to think about for a second is that every 10 minutes 7 Kenyans need blood. All right, 10 minutes about 7 Kenyans need blood. But at the same time, just even when you think about should I or should I not, remember that just 3 teaspoonfuls of your blood, and this is enough to actually save a life of a premature baby. So the big question is, how often should you donate blood? Like we said, 3 to 4 times a year. That is good enough. Okay, so we need to develop that culture of just donating blood. It doesn't have to be really in an emergency setup is when we donate blood. So Ruben Tulel, who's the head monitoring and evaluation as well as digitization from KTTA, is here this morning to help us with the same, as well as Nick Kiptanu, who's the head technical services and specialist public health systems as well, just here to also share their insight in terms of how we get to that level of sufficient blood supply in the country. There was a concern before we read more of your feedback, and this is someone said that once they had this story, blood is being sold, or some people would say when I go to the hospital, maybe my loved one needs blood urgently, I'm being told I pay some certain amount before they get blood. Do you want to address this very, very quickly? And this is a very big concern for so many Kenyans as well.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the concerns are valid, and but I think again we need to understand, we need to make our Kenyans understand that blood transfusion is a process. Okay. And what we do as Kenya Tissue and Transplant Authority, formerly National Blood Transfusion Service, is collect blood, process that blood for free, and issue the units of blood to the transfusing facility, which are the hospitals. Okay. Now, the issue of cost comes in when they say transfusion charges in the bill that is billed to the patient. Okay. So that is now, I believe, where people say that blood is bought. But on our side, blood is given out to transfusion facilities free of charge. Both public and private facilities receive blood from the Kenya Tissue and Transplant Authority, which is funded by the Ministry of Health and the government, for free. Okay. So I think something that needs to be done maybe is to cost that process, which the government is shouldering, yes, which is not little, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But the issue is now within the transfusion facilities. How do we charge for blood transfusion? I believe the charges are for what we call grouping and cross-matching, because you cannot just give blood to anyone, just anyhow, but there's what we call cross-matching that needs to be done for comparative purposes. Then we need now to control that and say that what is the minimum that can be charged for that test.
Okay.
So, but as for Kenya Tissue and Transplant Authority, we give blood free of charge to all transfusion facilities.
But this costing aspect, then, doesn't that discourage so many Kenyans from donating? Because again, a lot of people would say, yeah, I may donate for free. Then why is it that when my loved one needs blood, I'm being charged for the same? So, Nick, I mean, should people pay?
You see, there is no regulation so far for now that can say that charges or that. But you see, our colleagues in private hospitals, they have to be fair enough. They don't have to overcharge these patients, because actually we are giving them freely. Even if they are retesting this blood again, they should be fair enough. I know they are on business, but I know very soon the government is coming up to.
But even in public hospitals, some people are being charged as well.
You see, in public hospitals, they charge from around 200 to 500. That is service charge. Because there is giving set. There is the reagents again used there. Actually, blood is free, but the thing which is done to that blood is very expensive. So the government has been spending huge amount of money. But I am just calling upon our colleagues just to be fair enough in terms of
we should
blood.
have some sort of regulation.
Yes, regulation. And also to educate the public. And if there is somebody who is overcharged, I think those people could now call us as a KTT. Then we can handle that.
Sawa. So you'll give us the lines that people can call. You know, in case they're being, like you said, overcharged for the same. But we sort of like need some sort of regulation. And I think we'll task you guys in liaison with the ministry. Oh, it's on process. Okay, that's good to hear. Okay, so then to that aspect, no, someone else actually said that they donated once, and since then their condition has never been the same again. Like their bodies, they've not been okay since then. All right, and I think this is where then we bring in that whole aspect of once you donate blood, what usually happens, what is the processing, you know, like, and screening and all those things, and but also just address this person who says, I've never been the same again.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that's a rare kind of case scenario. And blood donation, as I said earlier, is a safe process. And one of the things that we do is ensure the safety of the donor and also the safety of the patient at the same time. So before one donates blood, you have to go through some eligibility criteria, which again, there's a thorough check of you as a donor before you donate blood. So maybe if our listener will give us, our viewer will give us more about how they felt and how they are feeling, what was the experience, then when they are donating blood, we'll be able to answer them more appropriately. But by and large, blood donation is a safe process. It's a safe process. It's conducted by professionals who are able to do that in a very safe way and be able to take good care of the donor and ensure the safety of the patient. So I think there are a few cases where one may feel maybe if you did donate blood when you have anxiety, there are times when you feel maybe dizzy or something like that. So those are normal donor reactions after, but they are managed, and after management then they are okay. And also during blood donation, again, we encourage a lot of fluid intake, so that is why mostly we give out a soda after blood donation. It's not just to, of course it's a way to say thank you, yes, but again it has a health kind of management in terms of replenishing the fluids that you give out. You know, it's about volume. So when you give out a unit of blood is between 400 and 490 mils, and therefore you need to replenish that volume. So you do that by taking a lot of fluids within 24 hours post donation. Then again, we also give an advice after one donating blood that after donating blood, you keep off from vigorous exercises, maybe some vigorous within just 3 hours, you'll be fine to go back to your activities. Yes.
Okay. And Nick, do you want to take us through the process, and especially for processing? So fine, I come today, right? I donate blood. What is that process like by the time someone, gets this blood?
Okay, okay, thank you. But to answer first about the concern of the patient, if he or she is not feeling okay, the best thing is to visit the doctor. Could be there was other underlying factors for that problem. So I advise them to visit the doctor. So let us talk about the process before one's donated blood. We do what is so-called recruitment. Okay. And then once we have recruited you, we educate you. Once you visit now our center or our collection site, first of all, we will check your weight. It's from 50 to 65. Yeah. And then we check also your HP level. We check hemoglobin level, blood level. May I just use that terminology, because when I talk scientifically again, it will be a problem. So the blood level. And then after checking it, we see if you are qualified. And then you undergo now what is so-called pre-donation counseling. That is why, again, you are going to receive a lot of information about the processes this blood is undergoing. And then also we prepare you for post-donation counseling as well, so that you can come back for your results, be it reactive, be it negative, so that you are ready to come and take it up. So once you have donated that blood, we put it in our storage facilities. First of all, we have to collect 2 samples. You give us 1 unit, and we pick 1 sample for 1 blood grouping or typing, and then for testing for these other diseases. So the blood will remain in a storage facility as these other processes continue. Okay. And then once the blood is screened, I'm trying to shorten it. So once the blood is tested, so we go now to sorting. Okay. The blood which is not fit for transfusion, we just put aside for incineration. And the one which is fit for consumption, may I use that terminology, we put it in our storage facilities ready for distribution. Okay. And then once again we have collected this blood, we separate it into 4 components. We separate it into packed red cells, then we have plasma. And in this plasma we convert it into fresh frozen plasma, which can stay for more than 1 year in our cool facilities, storage facilities, that is at -20 and below. Okay. That one can last for 1 year. This one can treat cases for those mothers who are overbleeding. And actually, we have saved a lot of mothers. Formerly, I was the director in Nakuru before I moved to Nairobi. So there was a China project which took place in Nakuru, so we are the pioneers of this component therapy in this country. So we have saved a lot of matters because of the factors which is in that, clotting factors which is in that fresh frozen plasma. Otherwise, our mothers used to be overbleeding until they die. When you keep them these red blood cells, it is like putting fire, where a lot of fire is in the fire. So there will be increment of bleeding. But when we keep the fresh frozen plasma, it stops within the shortest time possible. Okay. So we have set a lot of matters. And then again, out of this plasma, again, we prepare platelets. Platelets, again, is to treat bleeding disorders. So these platelets expires after 5 days. Okay. We store at room temperature. Then we have another one called cryoprecipitate. We prepare it again from this fresh frozen plasma. This one is treating cases like hemophilia. Those are the things we are doing. And now we are moving as a KTTA. Very soon we'll be having fractionation centers whereby we'll be preparing things like albumin, immunoglobulin. It is the whole process again, which we are moving. Otherwise, so far we are doing very good, and we are on the right process. I'm giving my friends, if he has something to add on it, he can have it.
Go ahead, Ruben.
Thank you, Nick. It's just as you said. Again, the process of blood donation, in focus with digitization again, is being made more. I call it 3 C's. The comfort, the convenience, and confidentiality. Okay. Right now, if you go to portal.health.go.ke, then you'll be able to get the donor questionnaire, fill it in the comfort of your house, and then walk into the nearest blood bank, just give your ID number, and those details will come up and will be sent to counseling.
Okay.
We don't want to eliminate the part of in-person counseling where you have to face a counselor so that can give you and maybe counsel you. This is an opportunity to also learn some few things. Blood donation process is not only just blood donation, it's also an opportunity for you to undertake some health checks and also be given some health advice.
And even know your blood type. I mean, I was surprised that a lot of people don't really know and especially the results.
So currently to our viewers is that Kenya Tissue and Transplant Authority is undertaking digitization of blood transfusion ecosystem in the country. We want to track and trace. Now you talked about blood being sold, but we want to increase accountability and feasibility of this blood unit, so that if Ruben Tulel donates blood today, you'll be able to track that unit of blood until where it was transfused in. Meaning that now we can have, as a country, we can do some maybe transfusion safety studies to see whether that unit that they got for me, was it safe enough for the recipient? Was it beneficial to the recipient? Okay. So currently, one of the biggest achievements that we have is the digitization process, where now we have the self-service portal at the Ministry of Health self-service portal, where now we go to the Damu KE blood banking management system. So we have a Damu KE blood banking management system, which is a free system to all our blood banks. We've deployed in all our blood banks, and also in the next financial year, we're doing it for vein 2. Vein 2 meaning the vein of the patient. We are working on the donor vein for now, which we are completing by the end of this financial year. Then we will come back again for vein 2, meaning that we are able to link the donor to the patient. So and then again, one advantage of that is that if you register as a blood donor today and donate blood, you'll be able to download your donor's card from the system. So just the way you do for COVID-19 vaccination certificate, the same platform. So you'll be able to do that. So I think it is something that is making, and then also again, I think the system is it has digitized all the processes of blood transfusion, where now we have what we call turnaround time. Like we said earlier, and my colleague, that regional centers test blood for the satellite blood banks. Yes. So when satellite blood banks send samples to the regional blood banks, that time when they send the samples and the time when the results are relayed back to them,
will take a bit of a short time.
It is made a bit shorter because whenever the laboratory scientists in the regional blood banks already key in the results in the system, the satellite blood banks are able to view those units in real time. So meaning that now we are improving access to blood transfusion through digitization, because we are able to make that unit available at the shortest time possible.
And also, like you're saying, increase transparency, so that those Kenyans who say, donated blood, I need to know who is the recipient.
We were mulling a point where we're saying that is it okay if we send someone a message that your blood has helped save a life? Now, assuming that you and me went and donated blood, and I receive you receive a message that your blood helps save a life, then again we are being a bit cautious with the messages that go out, because again you will ask, okay, mbona tuleli lisemekana hajakuja yake na yake hajakuja, so it becomes an issue. So but so far so good. The optimism that we give to Kenyans is that we'll have improved access and increased access to blood transfusion in the country wherever they will be. Yes.
All right. But of course, my biggest concern is then how do we make sure that we have safe and sustainable supply of blood as well in the country. But yes, go ahead, Nick.
So I have a point which I want the listeners to note. We have also plasma paresis. That's something very forgotten. The Ministry of Health has procured for us some equipment called aperitic machines. This one you can come and donate you can donate plasma. And the rest which we don't need it is returned back to your body. I think this is the technology which has been happening in these developed countries. I remember when I was at Japan, I saw it, but now it is right now happening in Kenya. We have them in our 6 regional centers and Kenyatta University Hospital. And that one, you can donate platelet, which is very important. It is just like for one platelet donated through that equipment is just like the one which has been donated by 6 to 12 donors.
Oh, wow.
And these platelets are being used a lot by oncology patients, the patients who are suffering from the cancer. So it is going on right now. And we are very happy about what the government has done. Very huge. Yes.
Okay. So people can just go and donate and just say, I'm here to donate plasma. That's plasma, I mean, sorry.
And then red blood cells.
Maybe to encourage again on the platelet apheresis is that you see platelets have a shorter shelf life, and again in the body they also have a shorter lifespan. So actually one can donate platelets after you can do after every 3 weeks, twice in a month. So you can frequently do that and save more lives. So assuming that you have an oncology patient who requires platelet transfusion, bleeding disorder to do maybe platelet inadequacy, then you are able to help this patient more if you do it through platelet apheresis.
Oh, interesting.
So, and also something important to note is that this is the first time we're having these equipments in the public sector. So it used to be in these big hospitals, but now we have almost 9 machines in the country, in the public sector. So meaning that the ministry has made a lot of progress in terms of ensuring that Kenyans receive blood transfusion.
So how about we go through some of the feedback as well, and then we'll come back to understand. So fine, we have this technology, we have this equipment now in the country. So then how do we encourage more people to just make it sort of like a culture, right? To just go and donate blood. It doesn't necessarily have to be in an emergency setup, but just because you want to save a life. How do we encourage that? But also then how do we make sure that we have sufficient supply of blood in the country? But before that, let's quickly hear what you have to say as far as the question of the day, and that is, how often do you donate blood? That is the question that we're asking you today. Masi Mamake Malia says, I don't know why I'm so scared of donating blood, but I will try it someday. How about you try it this week, Masi? I'll go prepare for the World Blood Donor Day, and see how it goes, all right? And then we'll have Waziri Fred Machuki, who says, I do it after every 4 months, now at 44 times, blood group B rhesus factor negative. Oh, that's interesting. Good job, Waziri. And then someone else says, this is Derek here, and you says, on emergency cases and if opportunity arises. And Derek, we're saying, please try and make it as often as possible so that we continue to save lives. Warren Blake says, after every 3 months, I have done that religiously since 2008. I did my 31st donation last week. Congratulations. That's a good thing to hear this morning. And then Simple Akanga Enos says, I did it thrice now within a span of 10 years. I think that's enough for now. Thrice within a span of 10 years? Okay, maybe one more time. Caroline Duru says, I fear that thing. I have never gathered the courage to feel a pint of blood. I mean, how then do we encourage people like Caroline and the other person who says, I am scared to donate blood? Ruben, how do we encourage them?
Thank you very much. I think it's about sensitization and also understanding the benefits of blood donation. And one thing that I want to maybe ask our viewers is that let's try, for those who are donating blood, let's try even during our birthdays. Let's just have a blood donation as a gift of life to another person. Then again, if you're not able to donate blood, like our viewer who is scared, again, encouraging others to do it. You see, you are willing to donate, yes, but it's just that you are scared. But if you go to a blood bank and be talked to, again, you may consider donating blood. But if you are not eligible to donate blood, again, there's something you can do. If you are not eligible to donate blood, you can actually encourage others to donate blood. We come from families
who's not eligible, so that people again.
So maybe going to the eligibility criteria is that for one to donate blood, you must be above 16 years of age and below 65. You have also to weigh above 50 kgs. You have to have a hemoglobin level, like my colleague mentioned, of above 12.5 grams per deciliter. So again, you must be someone who's in good health, without any kind of a chronic illness. If I'm epileptic, if I'm something like that. So again, remember we are trying to look at the safety of the donor at the same time and safety of the patient.
Yeah.
So so if you have any of those, if you have qualified, then fine, you can go ahead and donate blood. But if you do not qualify, I just want to say that there's something you can do.
We cannot lock anyone out.
Yeah, you can even come and be a mobilizer of blood during blood donation drives, and mobilize people, give people soda and all that, help in doing 1, 2, 3 things, and also give the positive message about blood donation by encouraging others to donate blood. Okay. So I think one of the things that we need to do as a Kenya Tissue and Transplant Authority is do more sensitization. Yeah, and I can see our comms team currently are doing a lot of work in terms of the social media messaging and all that. Yeah. So I think it's something that we hope it will change.
We can change. Okay, so Ruben, allow me to take that as your parting shot because we need to end the show.
Yeah, thank you.
I have something on this one first.
Yes, and then
especially the underweight. You see, I visited Japan and I saw they have some small folding bags that can be used for people who are underweight. I think also we are going to introduce that so that we cannot discriminate against anybody.
Yes.
When you are HV levels have been checked, everything is okay, you can still donate using these small folding bags.
Yeah.
And that one
that will be okay.
Great, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I see that. And like you said, timelines now, you are, I mean, quarter 2?
We are quarter 4 right
Quarter
yes,
4.
Yes.
Okay, and you've surpassed the 200,000 mark, right? So then what will it take for us to get to that level where we have sufficient supply and don't have people crying, you know, that we do not have? Very quickly, like 10 seconds, and then maybe I'll give you 10 seconds more. Okay. Go ahead, Nick.
So what I can say is that I'm calling upon Kenyans, political, media houses to support us in sensitization about blood donation. You see, we Kenyans, we are very good in reacting. We are not proactive. So I'm encouraging Kenyans to have altruism spirit and to be proactive.
I like that. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you. All right.
Thank you very much. I think as a country, we require over 500,000 units of blood in a year. Like the WHO guidance of 1% at least to meet our blood requirements. For 47 million, around 47 to 52 million, then we actually need about 500,000 units of blood. And we are currently almost 60%, just slightly above 60% of our yearly target. Currently, we set our target at 400,000 units of blood, so and which we are doing above 60% on that. So I just want to, like my colleague has put, that want to encourage Kenyans to come forward and donate blood. This year we're celebrating World Blood Donors Day, which is a WHO recommended celebration, 14th June, and we encourage all to come forward, and we want to appreciate and thank our donors for donating blood and encourage them to do more.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Ruben Tilel, who's ahead monitoring and evaluation as well as digitization. That is from KTTA, as well as Nick Kiptandui, head technical services and specialist public health systems, as well from KTTA. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Such an insightful conversation this morning. And the call is, please, let's donate blood and make it a culture, all right, for all of us to just donate blood, because again, like we said, and I'm just going to leave you with this facts, okay? Something to think about, and that is, like we said, here in the country, every 10 minutes, about 7 Kenyans are in need of blood. And even as you think about donating blood, just remember that just 3 teaspoonfuls of your blood are enough to actually save the life of a premature baby. So let's donate blood, all right, even as we gear up towards the World Blood Donor Day 2023. So have yourselves a lovely day ahead. I'll see you tomorrow morning, same time, same place, right here on your wall. But until then, stay safe, God bless, and donate blood. Goodbye for now.